We are live. It's Paul O'Neill and Andy McEwen here at Snetterton 200 circuit. TCR UK champion will be revealed in probably about 40 minutes time, I'd say. It's not as wet as it was. Still not dry. You said it'd be a dry race. Why'd you say that?
Well, you know, sometimes even I get it wrong, just once or twice. It is drying, though, so I was kind of there. And, yeah, you're right, not raining. So I'll claim that as a mini victory, I think, because anything that's an improvement on the conditions from race one is a plus as far as I'm concerned.
I'm with you. Top 10 reverse grid race. So we have 9th and 10th as Isaac Smith and Chris Smiley, respectively. But there is a change of poleman because 10th place was Russell Joyce. He has just been given the big volley out of the way. And I think now, looking at my sheet and my maths, I think it's Matthew Wilson on pole. He loves a good pole, doesn't he?
Yes, he does seem to get to the front of these reverse grid races quite often, doesn't he? Managed to stay there for a while at Coombe, remember? That was the last time he was up there, I think. So how good that car is in the wet, I don't know. I guess we'll find out now. But look, this is going to be a heck of a race. You've got people at the front that know this is their last chance to get a good result at the end of the season, including some quick guys. You know, people like Lewis Kent, they're going to be near the pointy end. They're going to want a good race, even if they're out of title contention. And then Isaac and Chris, 8 points, I think, between them coming into this race. Mired in the midfield. It's damp, it's greasy. Yeah, I do not know what is going to happen, but it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, that is a very good point, actually. Right in the midfield. And when I looked at the reverse grid, it didn't look like a reverse grid, if I'm being basically, if I'm being honest. There was a lot of good, and there is a lot of good, fast people up there. Darrell Wilson, for one, will be well happy. I think he'll start P2. But there's some quick cars out there, quick drivers who, like you rightly said, don't really care about what happens in front of them. Not that they're going to smash people out of the way, but do you think that Smith and Smiley will be a bit wary of that?
They want to be, but they can't be because they have to go forward. There are so many points available at the front of the grid compared to the back of the top 10. If you're winning the race and your rival is 5th or so, you're taking 20 points out of them. So if one of them steals a march, the other has to go with them. The start will be very interesting because Chris Smiley, I think, might be a little bit more aggressive than Isaac Smith at the start of the race, and he's going to be trying to carve a path through the field for Isaac to follow. But yeah, if one of them makes some early progress, the other kind of has to go with them, really.
Yeah, it's going to be... I don't think this is going to be done until the last couple of laps. Honest, I really do think that. Be interesting to see what the drivers think, because Chris Smiley just looks well calm, nothing phases him. Although I've got to say, I think from what he's just seen of Isaac Smith, that's going to catch his attention in that first race.
Oh, for sure. That was more pace out of Isaac than I expected to see. Certainly at the start of the race, he didn't look all that racy. But that's the Isaac Smith way. He lets the race come to him. He knows that it's a 25-minute race. You're not going to win it in the first 5 minutes. Save the tyres, save the car, keep it on the island, make sure you're there at the end. There is a bit of news, actually, and gossip surrounding Isaac Smith. They've been having a few little issues with that car between races. They went to drive it from the podium area and Parc Fermé into the paddock, and it wouldn't move. They had no forward gears. Now they think they've solved the problem, but they had an hour to turn that car around between races, and that's not ideal. Now, if ever there was a driver who could cope with that little snag, you know, from a pressure point, you'd say it's Isaac. Nothing really seems to faze him, but I really hope that car works.
Yeah, me too. And that's interesting. That team were messing around with they were one of the only teams I could see that were messing around with tyre pressures, which would tell me that it sounded like they were taking pressure out. That would tell me that that's why that car was so fast at the end of the race, because they took a bit of pressure out of the tyres, and they obviously, other people were ballooning, and they were quick at the end. Really switched on team, actually, to be fair, aren't they?
Yeah, they're a strong team. Again, not the biggest team. They're certainly up against bigger teams as far as number of personnel and years of experience, really, but they run cars in lots of different championships, and you pick things up from racing even in other series. So yeah, nice to see. That's what TCR is all about, though. You don't need to bring an enormous team and a huge budget to be competitive here. You know, it's an old car that's not got any factory support anymore, an inexperienced driver, and a team who I think are punching above their weight. It's great to see.
Yeah, punching above their weight. Matt Wilson just pulling up behind us in the 31, so it does look like he's took the pole. I think what we'll do is we'll get out of his way, because I've sat in with Matt as a coach, and he is a terrible reverse parker. I mean, you only have to look at how he's parked that car in the assembly area to say, I mean, what kind of parking is that? Yeah, to be fair, he gives us a shrug and he's kind of saying, yeah, he doesn't know himself. We look around, it's only between those two in the overall title assault. Brad Hutchison, that second place he had, or that third place he had earlier on today, he's another one who's just going to be trying to get up there, but he's right in front of them other two, so Isaac knows how to get past him. Chris Smiley's going to have to try and follow through.
Absolutely. I mean, for either of them to win the championship, you feel they're going to have to make some progress, because one of them will. But look at the people they've got to pass. Hutchison, pole last time. Winfield, runner-up last year's championship. Double reigning champion Lewis Kent. Alex Lee, 3 times a winner. They're not going to be easy people to overtake. Now, they're not going to put up an enormous fight, because they know that they're championship contenders, but they won't be rolling over either. So it's not like they've got, you know, people who are 2 seconds a lap off the pace they've got to pass. They're tough cookies, so that's going to be a real challenge for both of them.
And the other problem as well is, no disrespect to Darrell and no disrespect to Matt, but they haven't been that quick in the wet. They could bunch people up, and that is then going to make everyone just too close together, and you might have a pinch point and a bit of, a bit of hit and miss.
Yeah, and every overtake is a pressure overtake for them, because their slightest slip, not even from them, but from the person they're trying to pass, could be championship over. You know, if you get a knock to the right rear corner or the left rear corner, that's it, your day's done. So every single car they come up to pass, they'll be wary of. They'll be less wary of the likes of Winfield and Lewis and Brad, because they've been racing them all season long. But for sure, each of those two drivers are going to have several moments during this race where their heart rate goes through the roof, I reckon.
Yeah, definitely. Right, let you go. You crack on. Thank you, Andy. I'll join you in a bit. I'll just ask a quick one with Matt Wilson. Oh my God. It's like the noisiest thing on planet Earth, if you heard that. I'll just quickly speak to Matthew. When did you find out you had pole, mate?
As I went to the bathroom 5 minutes ago.
Literally, I can't even see it on the timing sheet screens yet, so it's a good thing though, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, no, looking forward to it. Yeah. It's drier, so I prefer to do it this race than the race before.
Yeah. Are we going to get another Castle Coombe out of you, mate? We're going to get a cracking race.
Yeah, just try and avoid the start this time, so.
Well, good luck, mate. I am sure you're going to do the business. And are you worried about anyone championship-wise? You just going to run your own race?
I just want to run my own race, and I know there's people contesting for the championship, but I just want to do my own thing.
Top man, good luck. The team are strong, and Matthew will be strong too. It's lovely to have no rain down here. Darrell Wilson back in the championship. I was speaking to him a couple of days ago at Donington Park, and we were talking about your ECU. Are you okay there, mate? You just it's like, I thought you'd lost your belts. It's good to be back, isn't it?
Yeah. I just wanted to finish in the race one. The conditions were really bad. I hear I was in P10, I made a move for P9, but I thought I was going to be on the front row, but for some reason I don't think I am on the front row.
Did you know that Russell Joyce has been thrown out?
No.
You do now, mate, so it's, I think you two guys are on the front row, because I've seen you pull up to P3, but you're P2.
Yeah, P2, okay, so 2 Wilsons in the front row. Yeah, I think I'll be all right. I'm just having problems with traction. It got a straight line speed, but obviously because there's a beam at the back, I'm still at the slow corners. I still just can't get it out the corner quick enough. But yeah, for the fast corners, it seemed to be okay. I just gotta keep my head down and try to get a good start. Really, I think I'll be alright.
Let's have a win, fella.
Yeah, I deserve one with the amount of bad luck I've had this year. But yeah, fingers crossed we'll get a win here, or be on the podium at least.
Top man, I'll let you get yourself ready. Good luck, mate. We're rooting for you. Yes, Darrell does deserve a cracking result. Let's go round the back. Actually, Alex Lee is already in the car, head down with his helmet on. Obviously going through his ritual. He'll want to end on a race win. Is he asleep? Looks like he's asleep. Look at that. He's either asleep or crying. Come on, let's find out. I'm not gonna disturb him. Is this the pre-race ritual, or is he just trying to put his belts on?
Pre-race ritual.
Really? What is his pre-race ritual?
Sleeping.
Goes quiet, gets in the zone. Goes quiet, gets in the zone.
He has been one of the outstanding stars of this championship. 3 wins this year. He could have another one, couldn't he?
Yeah.
We're hoping so, yeah.
We are too. He's been absolutely exceptional. Love him to bits. He's a good lad. Good luck. Spot on. Right. Oh, he's woke up. There he is. He knows. Look, there he is. He's obviously devastated. We've caught him in the act. But yes. Why is everyone in their cars and you're not? And you're not. Tell me.
Because we're just we're cool boys, aren't we? We're cool dudes.
You both are cool dudes. I got asked who was the better looking of you two. Who did I say?
You said him.
Did I?
It's because I'm a hunk. Look at me. I'm sexy. He's not.
Not having any of it, Paul. Not having any of it, mate.
Boys, it's a shame, isn't it? The championship fight's over. You give it as good as you got. Turn up next year with the car and just a bit of testing. Get on with it.
Yeah, again, we're going to have a look at all our options. As we've always said, we've always wanted to go bigger and better. Europe is still on the cards. Again, it's just the budget side. Budget side's always been our problem. We've been thankful to, or lucky to have a family behind us that have helped and pushed us all the way. But yeah, money's tight at the moment, and so is business. So at the moment, we're not looking too good to be doing a lot of things, but fingers crossed over the winter someone goes, here's a whole load of money, go racing, and yeah, you'll see us on the grid again somewhere, but just not sure yet.
All right, mate, good luck. I'm sure you need to get in the car. Everyone else is. You're just, yeah, cool as you like. Right, let's go and speak to some people involved in the championship. Tell you one thing, Isaac Smith actually in the 1-2-3 golf doesn't really look like he's mad for a bit of chat, so I don't want to disturb him. One person that I will disturb, though, not you, Lewis Brown. Why are you not racing?
Car had a bit of a problem yesterday, so we just can't get the bit for it. So no, but it was a good day yesterday for what we did do. So just making next year more exciting.
Going to be around next year?
Hopefully that's the aim.
Yeah, boy. And remember, I'm commentating, so I'm going to rip you.
Okay, what we're going to
Nearly dropped the mic then. Lewis Brown, everyone. Ant Warneils. You've been in this championship, you know how hard it is. Hyping, you're helping out Isaac Smith. How impressed are you?
Pretty impressed, really. He's stepped up to the mark this year, hasn't he? As you've said previous times, the job he's done all year, and the reliability and the commitment that he's put into every race, making sure he finishes and making sure he scores points has paid off. And coming into this weekend level with Chris, it's all to play for. Chris got that one in the bag, didn't he? And reverse grid now. It's a bit different last race.
Still close though, isn't it? Can I ask, what have you told him? Because you've been in so many times, you've been in this championship fight. To be honest, it's kind of, you just got to get crack on it and you got to go for it.
Yeah, well, he's been reliable all year and he's just scored points. And I've said, look, mate, to be fair, this is not the race to score points. If it was me sat in that car, there's one thing to do: push your way to the front. I told him to win this race.
And what about the car? Is it okay? We've seen it had gearbox problems coming out of the Parc Fermé area.
Yeah, it's all right. Just a bolt had a bit of a moment and broke loose, but it's all back now. Yeah, car's good. Car's reliable. Just got to get his elbows out, get stuck in, get touring car racing. I've told him, and win the race. That's it.
Top man, right, I think he's just getting his head in zone. I really don't want to be disrespectful. Thanks, Ant. I don't want to be disrespectful to him. Let's have a quick word with Charlie, though. I don't want to speak to the drivers. I think that they're trying to get themselves in the zone. I think it's nice to speak to people like yourselves who've helped out. Yeah. Start of the year was amazing, and that story of you going across of Europe to get the ECU and make this happen and get the car, it's been amazing.
Yeah, good. Yeah, good championship. Yes, bunch of good people.
What's he been saying after that first race? Has he been saying, I'm just going to go out and follow him home, or what does he want to do?
Well, I think follow him home.
Yeah.
I think it's safest.
That's the best way, isn't it? Yeah. Team's done a great job, haven't they?
Yeah, good. Yeah, really good. Yes, Ben and all them guys have all been very good.
Top man. Listen, Charlie, I'll let you go on because you seem more nervous than Chris. No. But actually, I'm just gonna ask Chris one question because I wasn't going to speak to the drivers, but I'm going to because your dad didn't give me anything. Focused. Get the start out of the way. Is there anything you've done with setup? Because it looks like it's drying up or drier.
Yeah, we've made a few minor tweaks to the car. You know, it's something very similar. We don't want to be making big changes at this point of the weekend, but yeah, I think anything we've done is going to improve it over a race distance instead of, you know, making it worse. But yeah, just get off from the start, and that's all we can do, and get away and see how it falls out from there. You know, we've had a good start to the day, and you know, now's the time we need to finish the job off.
Top man. Right, that's enough of that, because I don't want to put pressure on those guys. It's not fair, and Chris is good enough to speak to us. I want to quickly speak to Jonathan Beeson, because I haven't spoken to him all day. I've got to warn everybody at home, this is live by the way, this guy's quite sweary. I'm going to ask him just a couple of questions and that'll be us. What's going on with the net? Have you had to buy a TCR net for this? Don't worry about that, mate, I'll come underneath. What an absolute legendary start. I'm going to take this off. You, my friend, were a star in that one.
It was going quite well, wasn't it? Yeah, but just had three throttle problems where it was cutting power. Once I came in the pits because it happened, and another time I pulled over, so yeah, devastated because we're going well. Yeah,
gonna crack on, mate. I'll let you get on with it. I'm gonna get somebody to fix this. He's gonna sort that. Top man, don't worry, it's getting sorted. Excellent stuff from Jonathan Beeson, and all he'll want to do is actually beat his partner who drove that car, George Healer, because he was absolutely flat out at Donington. These cars now are leaving the assembly area. This is it. It's the showdown. Is it going to be Chris Smiley or is it going to be Isaac Smith? We're going to find out very, very soon. Paul O'Neill is over and out down here. I think we're going to go to an advert break, and then it's Chris Smiley and myself in the comms box. See you in a minute.
For voice and data solutions at speeds that are simply out of this world, choose Maximum Networks.
Here we go then, it's round number 15, the final round of the TCR UK Championship for 2022, and it is a 35-minute race that will decide, 25-minute race, sorry, that will decide the outcome of the 2022 Championship. 8 points separating Chris Smiley and Isaac Smith at the top of the points. It's a two-horse race now, nobody else can outscore them, regardless of what happens over this final 15th round of the championship. Andy McEwen here in the commentary box, joined once again by Paul O'Neill, who I'm sure is just as excited about this race as I am. Tricky conditions out there, nowhere near as wet as it was earlier on. The sun is starting to come through, but I noticed when the cars were leaving the pit lane just now, Paul, still quite a bit of spray. So the track will dry, but I don't think we're going to get down to a dry line before the end of the race, are we?
No, definitely not. It's just not warm enough. It's only going to get cooler, isn't it? So I am so looking forward to this. I think this is going to be absolutely exceptional. Whoever's got the settings right on the car, whoever's got the tyre pressures right on the car is going to do very well in this. And good to see an old Wilson front row.
Yes, these two do seem to have a habit of cropping up at the front in the reverse grid races, don't they? Matthew Wilson in the new Cupra, and alongside him, Darrell Wilson in that trusty old Astra. Darrell, one of only 2 drivers on the grid to have raced in every season of TCR UK. There's the other one, Lewis Kent, who we now know will be the outgoing champion. That number 1 will not be on his window next year. He will start 4th. Alex Lee it is who starts 3rd on the grid, just ahead. That's really the pack of cars, Paul, where I expect the winner of the race to come from. Lee, Lewis, Winfield, Constable, they were all rapid in that previous race, and they've now got better track position from the start.
Yeah, definitely. It's still going to be a difficult one. Full reverse grid, 10 cars. And like we said just a few minutes ago, there's not one bad driver in front of the 2 championship protagonists. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. And there's a few people who are super fast around this circuit in these conditions. And one of those people, we just passed him, and that was Hutchison. He is looking very strong, and they've got to get past him first of all.
Yeah, they said that, I was chatting to the team actually after race 1, and they said that Brad was just complaining about an overall lack of grip. Well, yeah, he would be. It was very wet out there, so they didn't change anything on the car. They sort of just told him to get on with it, and I think he feels that he can maybe go a little bit more strongly in this race. So, as far as the championship battle is concerned, it is Isaac Smith versus Chris Smiley. They start deep in the field because they were 1st and 2nd in the previous race. It's always a top 10 grid reversal for race number 2 here at TCR UK. So that's why the car that inherited 10th after that post-race penalty for Russell Joyce, Matt Wilson, starts from pole, and our 2 title protagonists come from the 5th row of the grid. There are 41 points still available. You score 40 points for a race win, all the way down to 1 point for 15th place. But the further up the order you are, the bigger the point difference between positions. So it's 40 for a win, 35 for 2nd, 30 for 3rd, and then 27, 24, 21, 18, 15, and then down in 2s from there. There is a bonus point for the fastest lap. That was being traded between drivers in the race earlier on today, and that could well prove to be crucial, because as tight as this is, Paul, you can see their confirmation on the screen, it's 8 points. That is not a lot. So things like bonus points for fastest laps could be the thing that decide it.
Yeah, definitely, because if they finish where they start now, there won't be a lot in it. But like you say, if it was 4th and 6th, there's a massive load of points to be gained. So, like you say, further you get up, the more chance you've got of winning this title. And Isaac Smith, knowing him, still has not won a race. Still not had. I can't get that in my head.
No.
That's madness, like literally, and Chris Smiley's only just won his 2nd race of the year, so shows again how strong it is. If that lad won it and he didn't win a race, nobody would care.
It would be kind of poetic though if he won the last race and that would in the championship. If Isaac can win this race, Smiley needs 2nd. So that's the best way for Isaac to put the pressure on him. 1st for Isaac and 3rd for Smiley would give Isaac the championship. So look, this is going to be a lot easier said than done, but they were quicker than all of the guys ahead of them on the grid in the previous race. That's why they finished ahead of them. There is no reason, as long as he can make some good overtakes, that he can't get to the front. And overtaking now, Paul, I think should be a little bit more possible, because there is less standing water, it's damp and greasy, and you can kind of find the grip anywhere now.
Yeah, they haven't got many other cars to rely on. Teammates and things like that. They're
single car teams.
Exactly, single car teams. So they've not got anybody to back them up. So this is going to be cream of the crop, rises to the top, and they win the race.
I love this time of year. Every year of TCR UK, we've had a championship that's gone down to the last day, and more often than not, it's the very last race of the season. And that is the case in 2022. For this 15th and final race of the year, then, it's Matthew Wilson and Darrell Wilson, and all Wilson front row. Cupra ahead of Astra, and then a pair of Hyundais next. Alex Lee in the i30M and Lewis Kent in the Veloster. Bruce Winfield's new i30N is next, alongside Jack Constable, who was one of the fastest drivers on the track in that first race. Callum Newsham was also quick, but had a slide at the bomb hole that lost him some ground and arguably lost him a chance for a podium. He will start 7th alongside Brad Hutchison, who did get his 2nd podium of the season. Then the 5th row of the grid, the title chargers, Isaac Smith and Chris Smiley, 8 points apart, but only 1 position on the grid apart, heading into this final race of the year. Then it is Jonathan Beeson and Andy Wilmot, those two together on the 6th row of the grid. Wilmot given that post-race 3-place penalty for contact. with, no, all the way around, sorry, Russell Joyce given the penalty for contact with Andy Wilmot, and that has an effect on the Diamond Trophy standings as well. Then it's Mark Havers with Bradley Kent 15th on the grid after another mechanical non-finish, and then George Jackson. Adam Shepherd is back out there in that slightly dog-eared Hyundai after his shunted practice earlier on this morning, and Scott Sumpton will not be taking the start from 18th because he's lost third gear in his i30 LT. He's non-starter, and so is Adam Shepherd, because having just picked him up, he's actually pulled off on the warm-up lap. Real shame to see that, Paul. Looks like he's going to try and get going though.
He is. That's at the hairpin, I think.
Yeah.
He's turned back onto the 300 circuit. So, yeah, I hope he's got his belts on before he turns off. But yeah, he has had a dog day afternoon, that lad.
Marshall walked away holding something that appeared to have come off the car, a bit of tank tape or bodywork or something. I'm not quite sure what that was. Perhaps he could hear something dragging under the front of the car and stopped to get a Marshall to help him. Who knows? Anyway, he will hopefully get round, but it will take a while. The race may have started by the time he actually gets round to the grid, but that is potentially of significance, because I thought that he would have the pace to get up there and maybe mix it with those championship contenders. That's one more quick driver that they don't have to worry about particularly, but there are plenty of others around them that they really do. So the best conditions that we've had all day. A good crowd on hand here as well at Snetterton for this final round of the TCR UK Championship. Shepherd is going to pull off to the side of the road, so he's not going to take the start. That's a shame. It is the staggered standing start, then no safety car start this time. And Matthew Wilson and Darrell Wilson will start from the front row of the grid with a pack of proven race winners and a couple of championship contenders lining up behind them. Place your bets, everybody. 25 minutes on the clock. The green flag is waved at the back of the grid for the final time in 2022. It's time to go racing in TCR UK. The 5-second board is shown. The revs start to rise when the lights on the lighting gantry are extinguished. We'll be racing for the final time this year, and who's going to get down into that first corner first? Away they go now, and it's a good start made by Darrell Wilson from the outside of row number 1. He will get the advantage then. Lewis Kent breaking through into second position. Keep an eye to the title contenders behind. Smiley and Smith were absolutely together, and Isaac Smith is diving up the inside of people into Rich's corner. It's an aggressive start from the Golf. They're 3 wide in front of him through the first corner, but he's making progress. Smiley is into the side of Winfield's Hyundai. They just about gather it together. Darrell Wilson leads, but Lewis Kent up the inside into the Wilson hairpin, and he gets the advantage away. The double reigning champion. He may be about to lose the championship, Paul, but he wants to end the season with a win.
Yeah, but look at Smiley. They're side by side, and he lets Smith go and just follows him through. Great start though at the front, wasn't it? Matthew Wilson got a terrible start, loads of wheel spin, but the two championship protagonists, they were at each other at the start, but they were nearly both sideways as they had contact going into the first corner.
Yeah, Isaac Smith was taking Antwort Neal's pre-race advice, wasn't he? He was getting stuck in, and he continues to do so at the inside of Callum Newsham as they drop down into Brundle and Nelson, and Isaac Smith trying desperately to move forward. That's Matthew Wilson out wide right in front of him, and Smiley's through on the inside line. Chris Smiley and Isaac Smith side by side. Smiley goes through. Smith chops back to the inside as they come out of the bomb hole. This is all for about 8th position, but it's for a championship. Into Coram they go. Still, they are wheel to wheel, but Smith's gone through, and he might get Newsham too.
Yeah, he's got a gap now, and Smiley's going to be bolted. He can't get past Newsham, so he's got one car in between him. Big lunge down the inside, and that could have been a disaster, but Callum Newsham opened the lock and made sure he let him through. But look now, Smith knows nothing except to go forward, and this is excellent to see. The gloves are off.
Lewis Kent leads the way. Jack Constable is second. Then I get back to Alex Lee third. Darrell Wilson fourth. Hutchison fifth. And Isaac Smith looking to the inside in sixth. Winfield is seventh. Smiley in eighth. Brad Kent is coming up behind him though. And here comes the Hyundai. As Winfield delays Chris Smiley, Brad Kent will get alongside the Honda and look to the inside line into Wilson. Smiley is having none of it. Slams the door and hangs on to his position while Smith is attacking Hutchison.
Yeah, but look at Smiley now. You've not seen this all year. He's into the back of people. He's pushing people out of the way. Side by side. And that was a very clean move. I said bumping and boring. It was safe for me. That was an amazing move. Round the outside. Got the job done, but look who's in the lead and look who's away.
Constable might have the pace to go after Lewis Kent here, but Isaac Smith is flying. He's got past Brad Hutchison. Here comes Smiley. He can't get past Bradley Kent, so there is 2 cars at the moment between Isaac Smith and Chris Smiley. We'll let things settle down before we jump to the calculator, but right now it's advantage Smith in the race, but it will be very, very close as it stands in the points. Through the bomb hole they go for the second time. Darrell Wilson now under fire from the fired up VW Golf, which is aiming for 1 thing and one thing only, and that's a race win. And I tell you what, Paul, the pace he's got now, Isaac Smith, I wouldn't bet against that.
No, not at all. And he just needs a good entry and exit here. And Darrell Wilson in that green Astra. Oh, down the inside. Callum Newsham did what Chris Smiley did to him. But look at the speed in a straight line of that Astra as it got off that last corner exceptionally well. But Smith in the 1-2-3 Golf needs to clear Wilson as quick as he can because Smiley is coming.
Indeed, he is. He is trying to get up the inside there into the first corner. As it stood, it would be the championship for Smith by a point, but that now changes because Smiley has got ahead of Brad Kent, so that live championship is already out of date. But Darrell Wilson is off at the Wilson hairpin just as Isaac Smith was starting to challenge. Darrell Wilson is off onto the grass, and that's another place gain. The championship is changing by the corner, Paul.
It is, and that's the last thing that Smith needed to see was that car gliding off into the distance. He wouldn't have minded if it ran wide and he got past, but it's gone on the grass straight off of Darrell Wilson, and that then again brings Chris Smiley back into play.
I reckon Smiley's now the champion by 2 points as it stands, but as they keep gaining places, that is going to keep on changing. Isaac Smith needs to keep making progress, but Chris Smiley said to you, didn't he, in the assembly area, his plan was to follow Smith through the field, and that's what he's doing. He's not right behind Isaac, but when Isaac gains a place, Smiley gains a place, so there's not enough of an advantage yet for the Golf.
Yeah, but it's going to get tougher and tougher and tougher, and there's a gap at the front of 2 seconds, then it's 1.5 to Lee, so there's a lot going on, and that will be concerning Chris Smiley a bit, but just how fast is Smith in 5th place? And there's Hutchison with Smiley behind him, and Hutchison we know has been super quick. He doesn't care who's in this championship.
How quick is Isaac Smith? He's faster than anybody. Fastest lap for Isaac Smith. Extra point for Isaac Smith. And now he would be 1 point shy of the championship lead. Now, should they end on a tie, the countback is in Smiley's favour. He has 2 wins. Of obviously Isaac Smith only the 1. He cannot now beat that. So he needs to beat Smiley in the points. A tie wouldn't be enough.
No, and that's what's going to be in everyone's mind. Again, this is where it becomes massively difficult because no radio or pit-to-car radio. These drivers are going to have to sort out themselves. Oh, Jonathan Beeson's had a nightmare again.
Yeah, had mechanical issues in race 1. He's pulled over on the inside at Riches. Let's hope that doesn't require a safety car. It would spice things up, I suppose, but I'd rather this race just carried it. Oh, well, it won't because he's got going again. He was listening to me, Paul.
Yeah, well, that happened to him last time. He was complaining of no power. Then the power had come in, some kind of electrical fault on the Golf. It doesn't race that much, that car, so something going on. Then the exhaust broke in race 1. But anyway, enough of that. He's not out of the race completely, and we are now watching the 1-2-3 Golf catch and try to pass cars ahead, and Smiley is looking super fast.
On this lap, though, I don't think Isaac Smith is catching Alex Lee enough. Beeson's pulled over again. That's actually the same part of the track we initially saw Adam Shepherd stationary at. Lewis Kent comes through with a 2.6 second lead over Jack Constable. Constable is being caught by Lee and Smith. There are more positions to be had here for Isaac, but the same is true of Chris Smiley, who tries to draw level with Brad Hutchison. Can't do it on the way into Riches. What about on the way through it? He turns in earlier, but the traction for the Audi on the outside will keep Hutchison ahead.
If you wanted any more proof that Hutchison doesn't care who you are, Smiley! Contact, no, great pass. Brilliant pass. I thought that was going to end, but there again, Hutchison had to give a bit of a left foot brake and not turn him round. Wow. Chris Smiley wants this.
Yes, he does. He gets through. There was a bit of a rub as he went past. Hutchison gave him one back on the exit. Those are the kind of knocks, though, that can break a toe link, that can break your suspension. Thankfully, that hasn't happened. Smiley is fine, and now Brad Kent is trying to come through as well. But that's another place gained by Chris Smiley. He slightly extends his advantage in the championship, but Isaac Smith is right on the tail of Alex Lee, so that is the next position that they change. Isaac Smith challenging to try and get onto the podium.
Wow, look at that. That Golf then, the 1-2-3 Golf. Isaac Smith, he was absolutely sideways through the bomb hole. Coming through Coram now. This is 5th gear on the brakes as you're turning in, and then down 2-3 gears, and then across the curb. Maybe in the wet you can get away with that, but yeah, this is where the tyres are now starting to be punished, and we might see these lap times just plateau now.
Is there an element, do you think, of maybe trying to save the tyre at this point of the race? It's a decent length race, and if the track keeps getting drier, which it will, they don't want to run out of tread by the end, do they?
Well, the sun's out now, so, you know, the one thing I will say is the track is still very, very wet, as we see in our comms box, Callum Newsham going slow. But look at Smith now, though. He is definitely definitely, he's got a lot of understeer in that car as he turns in there, so he might want to back it off a bit. If you do try too hard, the pressures will go up and it will become a bit of a problem. But the Goodyear wet has always been a fantastic wet now, so they're in good hands.
Nothing to choose in lap times, by the way. Jack Constable 26.2, Alex Lee 26.0, Isaac Smith 26.1, Smiley 26.0. So they're all lapping very similarly. But in that first part of the lap, Paul, that's where the Golf seems strong. He closes in on Alex through the first sector, but then sector 2, perhaps Lee is slightly the stronger. So the gap comes down to virtually nothing by Brundle and Nelson, and then it seems to creep up. This is where Smith needs to latch onto the Hyundai and maybe try and make a move into the last corner.
Yeah, definitely, and you can see that Smiley's just now probably taking a set. Doesn't want to panic Smith too much into defending, because if he starts defending, then that means the rest of the pack will catch them up and put Smiley in a predicament of maybe getting a bit of damage from the cars behind, namely Bradley Kent.
Indeed, Kent, Hutchison and Winfield not that far back, although that gap seems to be going out slightly. So too is the lead gap. Lewis Kent is 2.8 seconds up the road now. Only one race win this year for Lewis Kent, but he could be about to double up on that. Meanwhile, Chris Smiley critically gets the fastest lap. That gives him another point and takes it away from Smith. Right now, Smiley is the quicker of the two, and right now he'd be the champion by 6 points. Smith has to do something about this.
Yeah, definitely, and it's getting critical now, isn't it? Because Smith is now catching massively the back of Alex Lee, but look how quick Chris Smiley is now on the back of Isaac Smith, and he won't want to get too close. You don't want to start, you know, rattling a hornet's nest, because he just wants to follow him and do whatever he does. That's all he needs to do.
There is the race leader, Lewis Kent. Second, Jack Constable. Third, Alex Lee, just defending slightly into Brundle and Nelson. And this really is where that Golf is strong. On the brakes, through the left, flick it back to the right. And can Isaac get up the inside into the bomb hole? He made a couple of attempts at overtaking Brad Hutchison at this part of the circuit in race 1. But Alex's car's got good traction as well, hasn't it? Came off the tight right-hander really well. And it means that Isaac Smith is not close enough into the next corner. Through the long right-hander at Coram they go. Jack Constable is the car just ahead of them, who they are catching slightly, I'd say, over the second half of this lap. You can see the gaps are tantalisingly close, but Isaac just can't quite find the grip and the speed in the right part of the track to make the move.
Darrell Wilson going off. I wonder what's going on there. He must have gone straight on, but he's obviously got failure of some sort. He's trying to look for the exit. But it's getting close now, isn't it?
Oh, Isaac Smith, I think he's found a gap up the inside of Alex Lee. Yes, he has, for third position. Isaac Smith on the inside of Rich's corner, commits to the move. Can he make it stick? Yes, he closes the door on Alex Lee. And now Isaac Smith is on to the podium. 30 points going his way, but it's not enough. He's only outscoring Chris Smiley by a handful for the time being. He needs to try and gain some more ground. Out onto the back straight they go. Smith into third then. Smiley in 5th position, but with the fastest lap. And that means that right now it is 3 more points that Smith needs to find.
Well, I don't think these cars are going to get any faster with the race going on now. And that's Smiley down the inside of Lee. He's got the job done as well.
And fair play there to Alex. Didn't fight that one too hard, at least into Brundle. Didn't let Smiley through, far from it, but he didn't want to contest that through what is a difficult part of the circuit to go side by side at. So another place now gained for Chris Smiley, and that puts him into 4th position on the road. The race being led by Lewis Kent then. Kent to Constable came down that time by 6/10, so 2.1 seconds now between the top two, and then the same gap it was back to Alex Lee in third. Of course, we know that's now Isaac Smith in third place. Can Isaac catch the leaders? The best thing that could happen here for Isaac is a battle for the race lead, and the way Constable's going, that could happen.
Yeah, definitely, and it does look like there's another 10th took out of him there, I think, as well. Oh, Jonathan Beeson, he's having a nightmare. If that stops there, and that's a reset. The lights have gone off. The lights might come back on in a second. That could be a safety car. They've got a big call now. They've got a big call with that car.
Because we're getting to that part of the circuit as well. Now, they can cover it under yellows, I suppose, for one lap, but if it can't get going, it has got going. Never mind. So Jonathan Beeson gets back underway just as the race leader came out of the Wilson sequence onto the back straight. Now, Chris Smiley, for me, is quicker than Isaac Smith. Surely he doesn't try to overtake him, Paul.
Surely he doesn't try to overtake him. I don't think he wants to, but when you've got the youngster Alex Lee behind you, you know he's going to have an attack. He's not just going to sit there. I mean, what does Isaac Smith do now? Does he crack on and try and get more points? Does he try and catch Constable? Have his tyres got it, or does he start to back Smiley into the pack? This is going to be interesting now. He's got 2 options, and it's going to come down to the next couple of minutes, mate.
Yeah, big wobble there through the bomb hole, actually, for the golfer. Smiley is looking up the inside at Coram. He backed right out of that. I don't think he wanted to go for that move, but Smith got it all wrong through the preceding corner and almost opened the door for the Honda. If Smith doesn't think that he can catch the leaders, there's one thing to do, and that if he's not going to gain more places, he needs Smiley to lose some places, and there are 3 quick drivers behind, and I think that's what we're seeing. Isaac Smith suddenly going from attack to defence, and Chris Smiley pulls to his outside as they come onto the pit straight. Less than a car length between the 2 title contenders, and Isaac Smith, I think, has changed tack. 11 3/4 minutes to go, and suddenly Smiley has company from Alex Lee again.
Yeah, he's either changed tack or he's been forced into this because he just hasn't got the pace in that car. But look now, Isaac doesn't need to defend anymore because that's being done for him behind. Smiley is having to defend from Alex Lee. I think that's his only option now, is to just stop it on the apexes and hope that the rest catch up and he gets put to the back of that train.
Indeed so. Right, onto the back straight. I reckon that if Smith can hold on to 3rd, he needs Smiley to lose 2 places. So he needs 2 of the 3 cars behind them to get past the Honda, and then Isaac Smith might be able to do this, but he is hanging on by the skin of his teeth. Matt Wilson is in the barriers at the first corner, but selects reverse and gets going. Now, we've seen so many cars in that exact bit of the barrier this weekend, Paul, and they've looked an absolute wreck. That Cupra bounces off and looks good as new.
Wow, proper JCB spec that, would it? It just bounced off, got reverse and cracked on. So, yeah, at least he's out the way, and that is not going to affect what's going on with our 2 championship protagonists. But now you can see Smiley is just trying to let Isaac, I think, just get away so he doesn't have to worry about what's going on in front of him. But yeah, I mean, the 3 cars behind him just looks a bit status quo at the minute, so Smiley is going to be the happier of the 2.
Yeah, he's dropped noticeably back from the Golf and isn't really under that much pressure from Alex Lee this time. Smiley still holds the fastest lap, by the way, and that could be the differential here. Even if he were to lose a couple of places, that fastest lap may well save him. Towards Wilson they go. The lead gap, by the way, just continuing to creep down, but only slightly. It's down to 1.7 now. Is that a sign maybe that Lewis Kent is starting to run out of grip a little bit? Because Jack Constable, who was really quick in the second half of race 1, is now lap on lap starting to look quicker than the leader.
Yeah, definitely. It's getting to crunch time now, isn't it? And the circuit's not getting any wetter, and the times are definitely plateauing. There's no greens really coming up on our screen, so yeah, the next 10 minutes are going to be just trying to save the traction in the traction zones for those tyres.
And this is one of them, out of the tight right-hander at Nelson. You can see that lead cap coming down. You can also see Chris Smiley, particularly through the first half of the lap, closing back in on the Race Car Consultants Liqui liveried Golf ahead of him. And Isaac Smith holding on to 3rd place. It would be another podium finish for Isaac, but ultimately he might well turn out to be right in what he said yesterday to me, which was that it would take a race win to win the championship. Right now, another podium is not enough unless Chris Smiley starts to lose some ground. Across the line, the leaders are about to come. What's this lead gap? I think that's come down again. It was 1.7 seconds, 1.2. Constable is definitely faster than Lewis Kent. So we've got this championship battle going on, but there's a good race to be had here for the victory.
Yeah, definitely. And if them 2 start squabbling, then we could have the 2 championship battlers doing something they really don't want to do, and that's have to battle with these 2 and battle for the lead. Well, Smith would like that, but he really has got to make a decision now. Does he back them up, or does he let them just crack on?
I don't know if that's in his nature, though. He's just not. He wants to win, of course he does. But even if he's second, he's kind of proven his point, hasn't he? It's been an incredible debut year in the championship, and he's very much one of these drivers who I think will just let things happen, and if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. But it's easy to say that to me in the paddock between races, but in the heat of the moment, when you can see that it might still be alive for him, he might choose to do things that he otherwise said he wouldn't do, but we shall see. Out of Nelson they go. The Golf ahead of the Honda, ahead of the couple of Hyundais, and then the Audi behind. The lead gap, by the way, going out this time in Sector 1, so Lewis Kent responding to the threat from Jack Constable, and it looks actually right now like Isaac Smith is a bit more comfortable in 3rd as well.
Yeah, it's definitely, like I say, he's just managing that gap, isn't he, Chris? He's not getting too close, he doesn't want to push Isaac into a mistake. Isaac will then back into him and it will be a nightmare, but that gap is gone. That gap for the lead is gone.
Another 3/10 taken out of him that time, and a 1 minute 26.5 is a good lap back from Constable, but it's a second and a half off the fastest lap, so that is how much they're losing time. You'd think the drier the circuit got, the quicker it would be. Lewis Kent with a big wobble over the curb there as he came out of Riches, and that lost him some time. And now Jack Constable's almost within striking range. So too is Chris Smiley against Isaac Smith. Smiley pulls to the outside into the Wilson hairpin. This is where the Honda seems good. Really good mid-corner speed. He takes a nibble out of the rear bumper of the Golf. And Chris Smiley now has a decision to make, doesn't he? Because he's clearly quicker than Isaac. But is it worth the risk of trying to get through? If he passes him and escapes, Paul, that's the championship won.
Yeah, exactly. But the championship's won if he just sits there and watches him. So, yeah, but it's just how I've got to commend actually Isaac Smith. He could really cause havoc in this race for his own benefit, and he's not doing that. You know, he could just roll off that throttle. This is the move, is it? Oh, and really, he really trusted him there to not turn him round. This could be it. He's going to try and get the undercut. Oh, this is going to be a nightmare. This is the last thing that Chris Smiley wants, because as somebody goes off onto the grass there, this is the last thing that he wants. Chris Smiley's either got to do a lunge, get it done cleanly, or risk the non-reward of having Alex Lee and everyone else try and gang up on him.
Well, they're there again, aren't they? Two defensive corners from Isaac Smith, and Alex Lee is there, but Smiley's got the run out of the final corner, side by side between the championship contenders. Outside line for Smiley, inside line for Isaac Smith. Last of the late breakers into the first corner. Smiley on the grippier outside line, but Isaac Smith is not going to let him have it. He takes it into the corner, holds onto the place, and how close is Alex Lee behind? He'll get a monster run out of Riches. Goes to the outside line, no, back to the inside they all go. This is tension beyond anything we've experienced before, and Isaac Smith still is in third place with Smiley still in a championship winning position.
Wow, one mistake from one of these two and that could be absolute disaster. Chris Smiley does not need this, does not want this. Isaac Smith, on the other hand, is like, this is my only opportunity. I don't want to be attacked by you, but everyone else is welcome to this party. And there they are. Look at Bradley Kent down the inside of Alex Lee.
Oh, that's almost contact through Brundle, but Alex will fend him off, so that for fifth position. Brad right up the curb as he goes through Nelson, and that will now ruin his exit speed. I almost wonder whether Alex Lee is deliberately hanging back from the two ahead, because he really should have gained more out of that side-by-side exchange, and he didn't. So is Alex Lee trying to do the respectful thing, or is Alex going as quickly as he can, do you think, Paul?
I honestly think they're all going flat out. I honestly think they're all going as quick as they can. Isaac Smith could do a lot more to damage Chris Smiley here. He honestly could, and I think this is massively respectful. As I thought that was an overlap for Chris Smiley, but I think Isaac now is just, his car is just slow. He is like literally struggling and struggling. But look at this now, that train behind him. As soon as he starts defending, the rest of them are coming, and it only needs one slide, one bit of contact, and it's over. Alex Lee is on the attack.
Yeah, Lee got a much better run through Riches this time. Defensive goes Smith, defensive goes Smiley. No, back to the outside goes Smiley, challenging again for third place, but Isaac will just carry the speed into the corner and park it on the apex just there, and that's going to stop Chris Smiley getting the run down the straight. Isaac Smith, though, not getting off the corners well enough at all, and Smiley is back alongside him to the outside, this time into Brundle. This could work, Paul.
This could work, or this could be the end of the championship now. Side by side, who's got it? Chris Smiley keeps it.
Oh, contact! Contact is made sideways for Isaac Smith. They both keep going, but that was the risk for Chris Smiley. He put himself in a dangerous position, and it so nearly went wrong. Isaac Smith is hanging on for dear life. He is still in third, but that was so nearly disaster, Paul.
3 minutes left. Look at Alex Lee. He's into the back of Chris Smiley. He's looking for an overlap. They go into Coram, and now Isaac Smith is away. Smiley's having to defend. 3 cars behind him. Isaac Smith might need to come back and welcome more people to this party. This is not over. 3 minutes left.
I don't even think Isaac's doing this on purpose. I think he's just slower than Smiley. Smiley's got so much more traction off the tight corners and keeps on getting alongside. There is a gap this time as they come through with 3 minutes to go in the final round of the championship. The lead gap, by the way, is still 1.5 seconds. You're missing nothing at the front of the pack. It is all about the fighting that's going on for the final podium place, where Isaac Smith and Chris Smiley, and Isaac Smith is off. Smith is off at the first corner, and that is surely that. Isaac Smith finally ran out of grip. He bounces back over the grass, but they've all gone through.
Oh, what a disaster. That's not how he wanted the championship to be finished, but I've got to say, the person who'll be breathing a sigh of relief is Chris Smiley, side by side with Isaac Smith. Unreal, 6th gear down the back straight, flat to the board, sideways, probably in 5th on the brakes. That's the last thing that Smiley wanted, but you've got to commend Smith. It's not over yet, but Smith he threw the kitchen sink at it, and that is what I wanted to see.
Yeah, you don't want to lose the championship because you didn't try hard enough or you backed off and you gave it away. He tried everything within his power to win this title, and it looks now like he might come up just short. Of course, Smiley still has to get to the end of the race, which is 2 minutes away. He comes through Coram now into 3rd place, Alex Lee in 4th. The teams are all glued to the coverage. Wonderful coverage, by the way. Alpha Live doing a great job of keeping us up to date with all of the action. How much action has there been? Chris Smiley coming out of the last corner now. He will have 2 more laps to go, and then he will be the TCR UK champion. These will be the longest 4 miles of his life, Paul.
Yeah, definitely. And as I said, any of the 7 that entered this weekend deserve to be champion in my eyes. You get to the last weekend and you're still in there, but Chris Smiley, my word, he is driven brilliantly, especially when it counted, and that is usually how you win a championship.
Still some battles to be settled here. Brad Hutchison hasn't given up on taking 5th place away from Bradley Kent, I noticed in the background. Out of Wilson they go. Lots of dirt on the road there where they've been just cutting the inside line slightly. Now Smiley's through. He's got, this is the pace that he always had. I think if that had been any other race this season, he'd have probably passed Isaac Smith 10 minutes ago, but he had to be extra careful, and Smith was being extra defensive. Now that Smiley's gone through, though, he looks as though he is pulling away pretty comfortably.
Wouldn't you, mate, if you look behind you? See
yes.
Them rebels behind you. Literally, I'd love to, I'm going to find out what Smiley thought as he was going down to the S's. And
he was sideways.
Oh, my word. That was so nearly over for him, wasn't it? But he's going to have to do another lap here, isn't he?
He is indeed. So too is Lewis Kent, who is just keeping this lead gap at about 1.5 seconds or so over Jack Constable. Good end to the season for both of those. Nice to see Lewis back up on the top step, it would seem. Just 1 more lap away from doing that. But Chris Smiley in 3rd position, the man who will represent the United Kingdom at the Motorsport Games in France in a week's time. That's why he's got the Union flag livery on this Restart Racing Honda. It's the same car. He'll be taking over to France to represent his country, and well, he's the right person to do so, isn't he? Because it looks like he'll be doing so off the back of a UK championship.
Yeah, it was lovely to speak to him after qualifying, actually, and get his thoughts on that. And, you know, very proud to represent him. It's a massive thing. It's not, it's not just TCR, it's UK Motorsport, it's the governing body. So, absolutely amazing, but could wax lyrical all day about Chris Smiley. He's had ups, he's had downs in British Championships, but he's definitely found his home in a front-wheel drive touring car championship, and he looks the business.
He does indeed. Lewis Kent is going to lose the number 1 off his car for next year, but he is at least going to end the season with a 1st position. There is the Restart Racing team. They can hardly watch. They just want to see their man round that final corner and claim the checkered flag. He's half a lap away now. The time has ticked down to 0. It's the final lap of the final round of what has been a truly epic season of racing in TCR UK. We arrived here at Snetterton with 7 drivers fighting for the championship. That was whittled down to 6 after qualifying, down to 2 after race 1, and it was almost winner takes all between Chris Smiley and Isaac Smith, but ultimately that small advantage that Chris had in the points coming into this race meant the pressure was more on his rival than it was him. Essex and Kent Motorsport celebrate a race win for Lewis Kent. Jack Constable comes home in 2nd, but with 3rd place, your 2022 TCR UK champion is Chris Smiley. Chris Smiley and Restart Racing have done it after a season of fighting tooth and nail. A couple of race wins, a handful of podiums, but it's that podium that will be the most special of them all. Chris Smiley is the champion.
Wow, unbelievable stuff. Congratulations. Bert Taylor, the Restart crew, the boys and girls down there. That's how much it means to them. Absolutely amazing. And that's how much it means to Chris as well. He's fought tooth and nail as he nearly turns into the side of Alex Lee. I'm made up for him. He deserves that massively. I can't wait to see what he's like outside the car, because he comes across as one of those guys who's super cool, but I think when you win a British Championship at this level, your coolness might go.
Biggest moment of his career. I think he's had success in other championships, other big championships, but this is a title that he's taken, and we said this last year, it's even more true this year. Winning TCR UK these days means something. It is not an easy championship to come into and win. The fact he had only won one race this year coming into the championship decided to sort of prove that, and I think year on year it will mean more and more to come out on top in this championship.
Yeah, and that's exactly that, and that's a great spot, isn't it? Look at that.
Yeah.
Bradley Kent with the number 1 on his car, which will go to Chris Smiley, waiting for him, thumb out the window, and yeah, absolutely amazing. The series has been fantastic. It's been a privilege to commentate on it with you, Andy, and I've watched some of, I said it on a Q&A the other night, I've probably watched the best British motorsport on this package. It's been absolutely amazing, and Chris Smiley, for me, he deserves it thoroughly. But let's not forget Isaac Smith.
Yeah.
That was some effort, and he went for it. It was brilliant.
It so nearly worked, so nearly. The progress he made, remember, Isaac started 9th. He finished, or was running, in 3rd place by about halfway through. So the progress he'd made through the field was astonishing up to that point. He just seemed to run out of tyres and run out of grip a little bit in the closing stages. Couldn't quite go after the leading 2, and that is what was what made it enough in the end for Chris Smiley to get the championship. And I'm sure that Chris will have some things to say about Isaac Smith, because they have fought hard all year long. They've spent a lot of time together on track as well. You see often in these sort of season-long head-to-head championship battles that you sometimes get to the last round and you think, well, okay, they're very close on points, but when have we actually seen them battling wheel to wheel on track? Well, you won't be saying that about Chris Smiley and Isaac Smith. They always seem to be near each other on track. They had some brilliant wheel to wheel battles. Castle Combe springs to mind, Alton Park as well, and it was really great to see that all boil down in the end to another one of those door handle to door handle touring car battles. A win, as we've said, for Lewis Kent. A second for Jack Constable. Alex Lee there was getting some encouragement as well from his Daniel James Motorsport squad as he came in. But with a rev of the engine, it's Restart Racing's Chris Smiley who pulls into Parc Ferme, and he will very shortly get out of the car and be received by a good crowd of people down by the podium to celebrate, provisionally at least, the 2022 championship. The Irishman who has raced in Clios, raced in touring cars, and now is a champion in TCR. Congratulations to Chris Smiley. Out of the car he gets. The team are there waiting to receive him, and finally 15 races, months and months of pressure gets released, and Chris can celebrate this with a team who are reasonably new to this as well. But Taylor brought a lot of people with him that he'd worked with previously, but no one really quite knew what to expect from them. Nice moment there as well. Congratulations from the race car consultants team manager as well. But Chris Smiley has done it, and you can see exactly what this means to him. Chris Smiley, who will be smiling, I think, for days, living well and truly up to his name. So, a championship won by Chris Smiley, a race won by Lewis Kent then. He is provisionally your winner of the 15th and final round of the championship. Number 1, Lewis Kent, winning by 1.5 seconds in the end over number 257, Jack Constable in second. Number 22, Chris Smiley in third, and that is enough for the championship. Just to do the maths on that then, he finished in 3rd place with the fastest lap. That's 31 championship points. Isaac Smith, after that, off at Riches, finishes 7th, and that's 18. So the eventual championship winning margin, as we've seen a couple of times, is 21 points, which doesn't really do that championship battle justice. Alex Lee was 4th, by the way. Bradley Kent 5th. Brad Hutchison, Isaac Smith, Bruce Winfield, Andy Wilmot, and Matt Wilson ran out the top 10. Andy Wilmot, by the way, will be your Goodyear Diamond Trophy champion, and I believe that Chris Smiley has wrapped up the Tom Walker Memorial Trophy. He was just 1 point ahead of Isaac Smith going into that final race, and of course beating him in the overall championship meant that he did enough to win the Tom Walker Trophy as well. Well, let's hear from him then, shall we? Chris Smiley is out of the car, he's starting to compose himself, and Paul O'Neill is there to talk to our new champion.
Wow, wow, wow. What a year, what a championship, what a weekend, what a driver. Your 2022 TCR UK champion, it's Chris Smiley! Mate, how does that sound?
Yeah, it was good. What a race, honestly. Isaac tried every trick in the book to back me up into the cars in behind, but, you know, I was just sitting there, I had to be careful. It was just, I'm so thankful for the cars in behind. I respect that there was a championship battle going on, you know. It would have been so easy at some point for them to do a kamikaze move on me, but yeah, it was a great race, you know. Halfway through, it was getting a little bit, he was trying to back me up into the cars behind, but I sort of just played him in his own game, and, you know, he ran wide in turn 1, and, you know, it was time to go then.
Did you breathe a sigh of relief? Because I tell you what, mate,
Well done,
I've never seen anything like it. That's a nice scene. Isaac Smith coming over. Proper stuff here down at the pit lane. Ain't quite emotional myself here, mate. That was some driving. Did you think you were going to be turned around as you went down the Yetis in 6th gear?
Well, the car was actually on rails the whole race. You know, I don't really remember having a moment the whole race. You know, I just kept composed and I got a good start. And honestly, I just was following Isaac. You know, if there's a gap, I was going down the inside. You know, and you know, it was one of those things where there's a little point at the start of the race where he was getting away a little bit, and I was sort of a little bit worried that, you know, I need to get going here. But yeah, I done what was needed to be done, and yeah, big thanks to Bert and all the guys. What a job.
Absolutely fantastic. We were saying in commentary how well Restart have done, how well you've done. You know, people like your dad, your family, the boys and girls that were on the pit wall. Some excellent scenes, mate. Top British Championship going. You must be so pleased to be involved in it at this time. Biggest day of your career, really.
Yeah, you know, it's been an awesome year. We've really enjoyed it. It's had highs, it's had lows, but, you know, this makes it all worth it in the end.
Big drinks tonight?
I've no idea. I've no idea. I just want to, you know, you see, because it's been 8 weeks waiting up to this, it's been such a long wait. You know, it's been like a second summer break, and, you know, I just feel so relieved now that it's all over, and, you know, the guys have done a fabulous job.
You were looking so calm, mate, and it was good to see you put it all out there. And Brad Kent as well coming alongside you, and Lewis with the number 1 on his.
I know, Lewis is a very deserving champion. You know, things hasn't went his way this year. You know, anybody who underestimates how hard it is to win 3 of these championships, you know, it's not easy. So yeah, you know, fair play to them. You know, and you know, I'm sorry I've taken it off you, but that's life.
Well, listen, I'm going to leave you to it, mate. You crack on. Go and enjoy yourself. The scenes down here are epic, mate. Look at everyone here. This is
looking absolutely unbelievable. You know, it's so good.
Top man. All the best. Well done, Chris Smiley, 2022 TCR UK champion. Unreal. Do you know what? I think I'd be doing ourselves an injustice if we didn't speak to Isaac. Let's leave him for a minute. It looks like he. Let's speak to him actually, because I wouldn't mind speaking to him. Listen, mate. In commentary, me and Andy were just saying how unreal the race was. You were so respectful. It could have been completely different, but it was unbelievable, mate. And you threw the kitchen sink at that. You had nothing else, did you?
Absolutely nothing else. I needed the car between us, so you'll have seen it was, come on, boys, give it a go, and then just the head. Building pressure, and that's when it went. It went turn 1, I locked to the front left, and I was a passenger from there, but we kept out the wall, a bit of handbrake pulling and whatever, but what a champion. I mean, it'd be nice to say I was a champion, especially against someone of his calibre. It's incredible.
Well, you've been absolutely astounding, mate, and there's no one else who could have finished P2. You were absolutely stunning, mate. You can sleep straight tonight.
Still love you.
Have a good weekend, mate, and you just keep it on the straight and narrow. You'll be sound. We'll see you next year.
Hopefully. We'll see where I go.
Top man, you've done a good job. Spot on, well done. Okay, let's talk to our second placed driver. It's Jack Constable. Oh my word, I thought you were going to win, mate. I thought you were going to win.
Thanks, mate. Not quite.
You were going well at the end there. You were reeling old Lewis in.
Yeah, I was hoping that his tyre would kind of fall off a cliff a bit more than ours. Didn't end up that way. We hit the wall about 2 laps after he did, and I couldn't catch enough in those 2 laps. So one of those races. Lewis drove an amazing race, no mistakes, and I couldn't do anything to kind of counteract that.
It was unreal, mate, and I think, you know, it's a good end to the year, isn't it? P2, it should have been stronger, to be fair. You've had a couple of problems on the way to assembly area in race 1.
Yeah, I mean, if we'd made it out for quali, I think that would have helped. But, I mean, to end the season with a P2 from starting last this morning, I'm more than happy.
Well, fair play to you, mate. You were awesome. Well done. Absolutely amazing. Right, let's go and speak to our race winner. Wow, mate. That's a good way to end the day with it. You actually said to me at the beginning of the day, you went, we'll be sound in these conditions. I'm quite looking forward to it.
Yeah, as I say, start of the year, Brands Hatch, these conditions, and I won. So, don't know what it is with the Veloster in greasy conditions, but it just seems to suit it. It doesn't roll about. It doesn't want to move underneath you, so you're not having to fight it the whole time. But at the same time, like even on the warm-up lap, when you're weaving and braking, you can feel the car sliding, but it's a nice slide. But yeah, couldn't ask for a better way to end the day, really, or end the year. So huge congratulations to Chris, shown brilliant pace all year. The team's amazing, you know. And yeah, deserved champion. I was going to get a little one sticker and put it on the car, but I couldn't find one. So, but no, yeah, great way to end the year and see what happens next year now.
It was a nice little touch as well down the S's of you with your thumb out the window, mate. And you know what it means, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. I've been there twice. I know the emotions he's going through right now. He's trying to hold it back, but he definitely wants to cry. But yeah, it's a great feeling. And yeah, I'm really pleased for them guys. They've shown brilliant pace all year, brilliant sort of resilience, and yeah, great job by everyone, really.
Top work. Right, you can get on the podium. I'll just quickly speak to Andy Wilmot, but well done, mate. I'm happy for you. Andy Wilmot, he's just having a little debrief. 1 second. Nicky Lyons trying to get everyone to the podium. It's like, all right, sweetheart, it's our day here, mate.
Last on this, so it doesn't matter.
Bit of a nightmare in the first race, but nice to bring it home in the second.
Yeah, I don't know what happened in the first race. Obviously I got tagged just going under the bridge or coming out from under the bridge, and it was yeah, from there I just lost my head and I was out braking myself, trying to make up time as you do. I just lost rhythm, and that was that. Stuck a little protest in. I didn't want to do it, but at the end of the day we're going for a championship, so managed to get it. And then yeah, that race then was better. It was a bit lonely after Wilson disappeared and the other Wilson disappeared, so I was on my own. And I was just driving around Sunday drive, just, I don't know, could have had a cup of tea, but yeah, that was it. But I'm not happy. I think I won the championship, or the old man's one anyway, so yeah, it's all good. It's good. Been a funky season.
Yeah, just a bit, mate. Yeah, Goodyear trophy winner. It's been a great season. Fair play, mate, and you're a champion.
Thank you very much.
No dramas. Right, go and get your silverware, and we'll meet you in a bit. Spot on. What a way to end the year. And I think now I'm going to throw back to maybe Andy, who's not there. He's actually stood left of the camera. Which, Andy, come in here a second. These guys are just going to do the podium and everything. But, mate, just recap it. The right man won.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. It was a proper fight. They went door to door in the last race, which is what we wanted. And they both showed the very best that they've got. You know, Isaac Smith, for such a young and experienced driver, to have the mental aptitude to go wheel to wheel with someone of the experience of Chris, that really showed what he's learnt this year. And then for Chris, again, to not succumb to the pressure, to make sure that he got, you know, he stayed out of trouble. When he made the move, it was decisive, and he scarpered, and that's exactly what he had to do. So, yeah, right man won, but they both should be really proud of themselves.
Definitely, I'm with you on that. It's been a fantastic season for TCR 2022. We're both hopefully going to be back in 2023. The grids are going to be massive. Come and join us. It's going to be wicked.
On the track, field, having absolutely none of it. Chris Smiley's Honda, and off goes the championship leader. Big drama for Smiley. Shepherd hanging on to the lead, but only just. Abbey loses one place, but tries to fight back as Constable's there as well. 3 wide, contact made. How they save that, I will never know.